All
Well,
right. Hello. Welcome, everybody. It's going to say
welcome.
Tuesday, but it's not Tuesday. It is Thursday.
Summer is still here for some of us, coming to an end for others of us. So we're so grateful you're here. Hoping this will ground you in,
Uh,
I know.
I need some grounding. I had a rough morning, first day of school over here. So, three kids in three different schools.
Yeah.
Just being real. This is what it takes to show up and be an artist is managing all of that and then, you know, getting yourself
Well,
into gear for art residency, which is what I'm so excited about. I can't wait for this to start.
exactly. In the chat, if you would let us know where you're coming from, if your summer is still happening, or if summer's done, you let us know in the chat. So we wanted to take this time. We often do these info sessions just to help people kind of get slowly back into gear with our programming. So art residencies are really important to Kaylin and I. We both have been a part of them and offered them in different ways, and we know the importance of them. And one thing we have both found, Kaylin, especially as a parent artist, is just how hard it can be to join in a residency. Often there's, a large application, you have to physically go somewhere. It's really, some of the benefits of that is really that you get to transplant yourself out of real life and go into artist life. But we want to make them more accessible, and we would like every artist who wants to try one to be able to do them. So that's why we've created our virtual residency program. And it is something that you can do from your home, but we try to help you create a successful residency, because I think everyone hearing that, it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get this done in my house? But we've had so much success with our program. So we do this twice a year. We do September is kind of the residency, but we have some stuff happening. Why we get started now in August is because we're going to walk you through how we get prepped. So, Kaylin, I'll throw it over to you, but we're really, really excited to get going.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. As Jamie said, we just really believe in the structure of our program because what it does is it offers that flexibility, that do it yourself, but kind of coupling that with this balance of support. And really what we're trying to help you achieve, what we're trying to share is that our art is our cornerstone, and to give you tools to create and carve out those sacred containers to focus on your art, which whether you're an artist caregiver or somebody who is balancing a job, or maybe you've been making art full time for 40 years, like this is a system that we all, need, that we all can agree on because we're human. And sometimes we just need a little structure to help us get our priorities back to our art.
Mm-hmm. And we believe that art residencies can provide a mental break. I think when we're practicing artists, and especially if we have business and our art practices, it can be this juggling. And what we try to do is create the art residency as a special time to just that the focus, you've declared it, you've made goals that is just to make art. So I know for me, that's worked really, really well, because we're going to do some prep to kind of get you ready for being able to say that, because that doesn't just happen overnight. So we know that.
One of the key things that we invite you to do when prepping and planning for your art residency is actually to figure out what you can sort of shed from your life for those 4 weeks so that you can have that mental break. So it's about adding in, but in the addition, we're also taking away something. So there is, a holistic way that we're trying to get you involved in an art residency. We really believe that creativity thrives under constraints. Jamie and I personally love the 4 week time frame. We feel like it's really enough time to dig in and do a big project, to get creative, to do, get a really good foundation going for a bigger, goal that you might have for your art practice. But it's also not so much time that you kind of don't know where you are, you start flailing and you get lost in the weeds. The constraints, the time constraints that you actually commit to are up to you. You could be doing a residency where your goal is 10 minutes a day. You just want to spend 10 minutes on your art in some way for those 4 work weeks. You could be doing a residency where you want to spend 40 hours a week. Your goal is to fully put in an 8 to 5. Maybe you've never done that before. And that's what you're going to do for the month of September is every week you're going to do 40 hours of hard work in the studio, or it could be anywhere in between, right? It's really just the commitment that we value, and putting that time constraint on yourself, committing to something is going to help you move forward with your art practice.
And we believe in taking up space as artists, especially as female, non-binary, and trans artists that need to take up as much space as possible in this world. And so part of this art residency is kind of this first step in claiming space for yourself, whatever that looks like. That might be in your schedule with, you know, people around you that depend on you, but telling everyone that it's something powerful about saying I'm in an art residency that is different than saying I need to make art today. People tend to, I find it's like these magical words that people don't really know what an art residency is. It's like the muggles in our life. They're kind of like, ooh, that sounds official. And you're like, yes, I'm very official. So it's a really great way to start claiming that your work is important. And maybe you already do this, and that's amazing. But this will be definitely a great way to kind of start that or continue it wherever you're at.
And one, big principle that we try to push the artists in the Thrive Together Network community and artist mothers is to celebrate our accomplishments. We really believe in the value of celebration, in sort of marking the moment that we're in and saying, oh my gosh, look how far I've come. Look at what I'm doing. It takes so much work to be an artist, and even just the mental work that we have to put in. So part of the residency program that we think is quite different from other programs out there is that we build celebration into sort of the ethos. We actually ask you to pick a halfway celebration and a completion celebration, for you to mark that progress, for you to pause and reflect and say, I'm doing this work. This work is important. This work is valuable. I'm taking up space. My art means something to me. And we just really think that is, part of our goal as leaders in this community is to push you to celebrate the work that you're doing. Because, that's one of the reasons we keep doing it, is because it helps us feel good. We get confident, we gain momentum when we pause and say, look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm accomplishing. It's part of staying positive and staying motivated.
And we really believe that any art goal that you have, big or small, is important. And so this is a great way so that, especially September, we do this in September and we do it in February. It's sort of this 2 times a year, because they are these times of years where it's a good time to start saying yes to things or saying no to things. And so a lot of work we've seen our artists have made during their residency then is for other opportunities later in the year. And that's really exciting.
So we wanted to share a few past examples. Some of you, don't really get excited about committing to something like this, committing to a program, until you can hear a tangible example of what somebody did. Maybe you're a little overwhelmed, like, but what would I do? What would be, my project, right? And so we wanted to go ahead and share some examples from the community, because I think that can really help get the juices flowing and help you come up with your own idea for what you might want to do for the residency. So Teresa, her main art residency goals, I believe Teresa has participated a couple times in our art residency program, I think, and I think this one was the spring.
Yeah, this is February.
So she had 2 goals. She wanted to create 16 heads for her 100 heads challenge. Teresa's a portrait artist. And she wanted to solidify if and where to show for taking up space. So I really like this example because Teresa is doing physical work as part of her art residency. She's making 16 pieces, 16 portraits, but then she's also doing some mental work, some planning work. She's trying to figure out, am I going to do a show in the spring? What is that show going to be? And here's a quote from Teresa. I was only able to pull off 12 and a half heads, and I am more than okay with that. I have until the end of the year to complete 100 of them, and this was a great start. I'm very happy to say I will be holding a Taking Up Space show in May. So I think Teresa, she shared honestly that she got a lot done. Maybe she didn't quite complete her goal, but I think, getting 12 pieces done is better than none, right? And she did that work of planning her show for Taking Up Space.
And this is another, different example of a goal that you can have. And Marcia says, I'm doing a virtual residency with Thrive Together Network for the month of February. I did not set a goal to make any specific work, but rather a goal to find balance between family, day job, and art making. Halfway through the residency, and I'm meeting that goal. So these are all quotes we found that our members have tagged us in on Instagram. So it was really nice to see the progress and kind of the goal setting at the beginning. So you can have a goal where it is like Teresa, very specific, a number of pieces, or something like Marcia, who wants to actually find more balance and find ways to do that. So very different on how it can be done.
And then Kayla, we wanted to share Kayla's example. It's easy to see what I didn't accomplish. At the beginning of the art residency, my goal was to make 4 to 6 studies experimenting with layering and pattern making. I completed 3 and began the first layers of 2 more. I didn't meet my goal, but I set out with a clear focus that helped me move forward in the direction I wanted to go. I tried ways of using my materials that I hadn't before. I have new ideas for techniques I want to incorporate into future pieces. And I learned that these small things take more time than I anticipated and can plan accordingly going forward. I think really what the art residency does that some of these examples touched on is it gets you in a great mental space thinking about your work. You're kind of using the structure of the residency to examine what can I make in what amount of time, right? You might not always have the perfect goal going into it that, you complete whatever 30 paintings and you do X, Y, and Z, but you're taking this time to focus and say, okay, now I've learned this about my practice. And it really is this foundation for moving forward into the rest of your season of art making that you're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we really want this to be a place where anyone at any time in their career, wherever you're at, it's accessible. It's really important to us. So we do this 2 times a year. It is the 1 month commitment of when you're art making, but we do planning and things before. It's any location and it's your residency, so it's your goals. We love seeing like on Instagram people sharing what people are doing. And it's all included in our membership. So if you're already a member of Thrive, you get to do this along with us. If you are new, we will go over at the end of this of how to get signed up, and it's a really great program that's just a part of what we do because we believe in it.
And as I mentioned at the very beginning, what we think is special about this residency is that it is this combination of individual work, individual flexibility, you setting it up to fit your life and your season of where you're in, but then you have the support of the network behind you. So you also get that experience of doing a residency with other people. Every Tuesday, we host an art and tea session where we just offer a check-in point. We kind of come together and we say, how are you doing? What's going on with your residency? What hurdles are you coming up against? How can we pivot? And, we just kind of share some tips and tricks, and we all, just gather and talk about our experiences. I think too, that accountability is really big. Many of us are motivated when we share that we're going to complete a goal, when we get to see others moving towards a goal alongside us. And then of course Jamie and I and the rest of the community, this is a very safe and supportive space. We're offering lots of encouragement, and I think that is something that you don't always get at every residency, that we feel is special about our community.
So this is kind of the structure, and this all kicks off this August. So we have a commitment week where this is really figuring out what project you want to do, what this is going to look like for you. You're going to kind of think about the time that you have. Then we have a plan and prep week, and this is about gathering material, getting ready. So our commitment week starts on August 21st, and then the next week will be our plan and prep. And then that first week of September is our work week 1. And then we have throughout September the 4 work weeks with check-ins every week.
And these weekly check-ins, as we mentioned, are our Art and Tea sessions that sort of become, the check-in for the residency. If you're not already a member on the Thrive Together Network, part of the programming that we host for our network members is that every Tuesday we meet on Zoom at 1 p.m. Eastern. These sessions are always recorded, so if you're not able to make the session live, you can catch the replay and still kind of be part of the community there. And then there's always network prompts and things that you can hop on. You can ask a question. People, we put up prompts for you to kind of share your progress and share what you're working on. But that virtual community really is what helps you stay connected and stay on track with your goals.
We're really excited this fall. For the first time, we talked to our community, and this was an ask that we had, is to create an online art exhibition. So the opportunity, if you are in the residency, you can submit a piece of work and it will all live on the website as a portfolio piece. So it will also be, an online show that you can add to your CV. But I think it's going to be a great way. We look at everything on Instagram when people tag us, but I think this will be just such a beautiful way to see the whole collection. So that's happening this fall for the first time. And this is our little sample of what it will look like on the website.
And this will be optional. You're not required to
Yes.
submit a piece, but it's more just a perk that we're offering to say, we appreciate you. Let's put together this virtual exhibition to kind of showcase our community.
It also might be a great goal for if someone isn't sure what they want to accomplish. It's great to say, okay, I'm just going to get, one piece I'm really proud of for the online exhibition is a great goal as well.
Absolutely.
And all of our programming that we do is in our Thriving Artist map. And this map is a workbook that we put out at the beginning of the year. You, although can plug in, we still have a whole quarter left. So we have a free, when you become a member, you get a free download. You can still order the physical map, but basically all our check-ins and everything are built into this. And so we're going to be launching our 2024 one soon. So we highly recommend, joining us for the year a membership because it's part of this whole overarching program that we've built. We're very A-type. We like to have things in order, basically, is what you're learning here if you don't know us.
Yeah, and here you
have
can
a plan.
see an image of some of the planning tools that are included in the map. As Jamie mentioned, the art residency happens twice during sort of the whole year of being a Thrive Together Network member. And really our goal is to help you plan and, kind of stay intentional and motivated to achieve what you want to achieve with your art career, and kind of to do that in a way that is sustainable. And one of the things that we believe that we're doing to help you, stay on track and to keep it sustainable is offering these planning tools that, you can just plug in and the work is kind of done for you. So yeah.
And so these are example pages. We create our residency plan, we write it out. If you don't use the Thriving Artist map, you can, every session we do, you can just do it in your journal or your sketchbook. And then we also have our sort of prep sheet, and that's kind of getting organized. We've had a lot of feedback from members how much that prep week really helps, because it's really hard to just say, okay, residency started, and from 0 to, how do you go from 0 to 100? So we have these 2 weeks of commitment and prep, and then we go into the actual work time.
Yes, you actually need time to order supplies to do a project for a residency. So we've actually built that in to the program.
Awesome. If there's anyone, there's a couple people here I see that have done the residency before. If you feel like sharing, we'd love to know if there's anything you really learned or wanted to share with the group. You can just unmute and let us know. Kaylin, I know you and I have both done it. So for me, the residency is just I just love for mentally, it's just I can tell people around me that I'm doing this art making chunk of time. And I put up an email autoresponder and I say I'm in a residency, and it really, really helps. So that for me is a huge, huge benefit.
Yeah, I had a residency. Well, the residency in February actually lined up with some shows that I had. I had work due like mid-March, so it was a perfect kind of do all the finishing touches and finish up these pieces. I had a lot of stuff in progress, but I really was able to carve out that sacred time, as Jamie said, and as we've kind of talked about, to like wrap everything up in a way that felt really super sustainable. I almost always turn off my email, or I put on an email autoresponder. I kind of do a little bit of admin detox or admin simplicity during the residency, which is really helpful. And I think in last fall, I made actually a brand new collection of work. I can't remember how many pieces, maybe it was like about 14 or 18 pieces that I made for my Better Together collection. And that collection basically came together start to finish in the month of September. One week I was piecing work. The next week I was stretching it and, finishing the canvases. The next week I was painting. And the final week I was putting all the finishing touches on. So it was a big push, but it was also like so cool to kind of see start to finish, the work really come together because I had carved out this time to complete this project.
Amazing. Annie, do you want to share?
Hi. I'm really excited for this fall's residency. I've done it twice before. Once I was prepared and totally ready, and once I was unprepared and overwhelmed. But they're so valuable. And I guess what I wanted to share about it is two things. It doesn't have to be a big involved residency, right? If like all you have is like a swamped world of time and all you want to do is commit to consistency, I love that this residency gives you that option, even if it's like they were saying, like 5 or 10 minutes a day. But the other thing I wanted to say that I love about this is that the planning and preparation part of it really does matter. So I was saying in the chat earlier, our school doesn't go back until September 8th. And so what I do is I do the best I can until my schedule irons out. And then I actually stretch my residency a little bit beyond the end in order to be able to squeeze in all those weeks. So I just wanted to say, like, don't feel like just because it's starting like on X date and ending on X date that like the support's not going to be there, or that like you can't continue to do it. Because it's really a great way to like stay focused, and like check-ins are really helpful to just like keeping your brain in the thick of it. Whereas like if you're like, oh, I'm going to do work for a month, but you don't do the check-ins or you don't have the accountability, it sort of falls off, right? Like all the other things get in the way. And that's why this is really lovely. But you can flex that with this program, which is really, really valuable. So
Yeah, we want you to make it your own so that it works for you. Yeah, that's awesome, Annie. Thank you. I'm glad you're doing it after September 8th. Get those kids gone. Yeah.
I just wanted to respond to, I think it was Morgan's comment. How have people who worked full-time in high demand 9 to 5s and have kids on top of that been successful in creatively scheduling their time? I think just being intentional about sort of the why for the residency, like what is it that you really are wanting to accomplish? Of course, it's easy to just kind of come up with this big idea and then, set yourself up for failure. We're really not wanting you to do this. As Jamie mentioned, that commitment week and the planning and prep week, we take our time with really thinking through what a good project might be. And we have a lot of tools, and we ask you to think through, okay, when is this going to fit into your life? What are you planning so that you can, fit this in? What are you taking away? Right? Because in order to add something to our already full lives, we do have to take something out. So for lots of us, we talk about, prepping ahead, meal planning, or we ask for, every Saturday off during the month of September from childcare, and we do a studio day every Saturday. Or maybe it's, you're going to commit to from the hours of 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. after your kids are in bed. I would just think through your energy levels. Like, if you know that from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., you're willing to put in the time, but maybe you're not going to be out there painting huge abstract pieces. Maybe that's a time to do some writing. Maybe it's a time to do some photography. I've known folks who have done, use the residency every day to take a walk, and they just take some photos, or they do like sketchbook stuff. But I think one of the benefits of the residency, if you do have a very full plate right now, is just building a habit. So be intentional about what habit you may want to build for yourself, whether that's committing to art every day, whether it's thinking about art every day, whether it's researching art every day, or every week or whatever, and figuring out how you're going to kind of fit that in the flow of your day with what energy level you might have during that time.
We always talk about seasons, so you just might be in a season of this residency where it's small steps forward are going to be the win, and that is great, and we're really excited about that. And then 2 years from now, you're going to join into the residency with us, and it's going to be this huge project, and it's going to look totally different for you. So just remember, whatever situation you're in now, it's a season. It will pass, and we want to enjoy the seasons that we're in. So you're still part of it. Yeah, go ahead, Kayla.
Just one more comment too to Jana, what you shared. Whenever I, kind of am feeling the way that you're feeling, in that I don't have the right conditions to make the type of art I want to make, I always think of a very early Artist Mother interview I did with Sarah Irvin, who works very closely. She's a staff member at TTN with us. In her interview, she said, "What is the art that I can make because of the conditions that I have in my life right now?" Right? So instead of like thinking, my life is so complicated, I have so much on my plate, how am I ever going to squeeze in all these big art goals that I have? There's just no way to put it in. Sarah's perspective is, what is the art that only I can make because of the life that I have, because of the caregiving that I'm giving right now? And I think kind of thinking of it in a reverse way is very helpful. It's not that you have less and others are able to do more, but that only you can make certain types of art because of the life that you're living, because of the beautiful people that you're caring for right now. Not that your art has to be about caregiving, but just thinking about it in that way, that the constraints become, the structure within which you make your art.
We also have on the network, we have some smaller groups, and we have a caregiver group. So if that is something too that you want to have more conversations about, it's a great place to do it. And it will be other members that are caregivers in there that are probably feeling very similar to you. Also, one thing about Sarah, I wanted to say, I'm not sure the timeline on this, but Sarah has a whole project where she attached mark making tools to her rocking chair, and every time she rocked her baby, it made these marks, and it became this whole show. And so I'm not sure I'd have to ask her exactly if that's connected, but with what Caitlin just said, I think that's so wonderful to think of Sarah, instead of thinking of the project she wants to do, thinking of the life she has, and then I'm just imagining her like one late night between feeding, attaching these tools to her rocking chair, thinking, what am I doing? But it turned into this beautiful project and a book, and yeah, it's just so
it's
wonderful.
1 year. So it was every time her or her partner used the rocking chair to care for the baby, she put a new piece of paper and then had this collection. But that's a great tangible example of something that you could take to say, these are the conditions I have. What art can I make only because these special conditions exist in my life right now. So
Yeah. And so just key dates for everyone thinking, planning forward. August 21st, that week is the commitment week. On the Tuesday of that week, which is the 22nd, is our art and tea. So that's our live session, and we'll talk you through writing out your plan. And that will be recorded. So if you can't come, you still can do the commitment week and just watch the recording and get yourself set up. Then the next week, August 28th, is that prep week. And that is all about getting your supplies, telling family members, doing food prep, anything you need to do to kind of know that you're getting started to the September 4th, August 1st is considered the work weeks. But
October.
again, if you need to push that and you need to add in, time after, great. This is just our sort of structure, and then you make it work for you.
Yep, absolutely. It's all flexible. So if you're wanting to join us, if you're already a TTN member, there is literally nothing special you have to do to like register to be part of the residency. We're going to be sharing about the residency, whether you're joining in or not. So from, that date in August 22nd through the end of September, as Jamie said, our art and teas are going to be focused around the residency. The programming that we're sharing, the prompts that we're sharing are going to be about the residencies. So there is a special place on the network where you can actually click in, and it's like the container for everything about the residency. So it's kind of all in one place. That's down here on the left-hand side of the network, which we always recommend utilizing the network on your computer. It's just a much more user-friendly experience, but it'll appear like this, and you can see the virtual art residency there where kind of the prompts are, the schedule is. If you're not already a Thrive Together Network member, we would love for you to join us. You definitely get a deal when you commit to a whole year with us. And you get like a certain amount off that monthly fee, but when you pay up front annually. But the art residencies, the 2 a year, are just part of the programming that you get when you become a member. We also offer art and tea almost every Tuesday of the year, like we mentioned. We have our Taking Up Space exhibition course and project where many of our members, hundreds of shows happen with artists participating really all over the world because of that program, and we're all taking up space together. We have a big resource library. You have access to around 400 female identifying and non-binary artists who are all kind of sharing about their practice, and there's just a lot that's happening there. But we think the art residency is one of the most valuable things that you get for joining, and it certainly is less expensive than a lot of other residency programs.
Our member portal, this network place is just a place to gather, but also get, information of what's happening, stay connected. If you sign up for the annual rate, you actually pay $32 a month. Also, it's a bit of a commitment to yourself that, you're going to spend a year. We think of it as spend a year with us. We've seen so much growth with the artists that really have stuck with us through not just the residency but beyond, and kind of done their map. And we're really proud of what we do, and so very excited to have you all here today just to talk through this. It's getting me into the mindset. We've had our summer sabbatical, so I'm very excited about that. Any questions? You're welcome to unmute and ask, or you can put it in the chat and we'll look at that right now. But we hope this kind of gives you a feeling of what we do, what we offer. Is anyone, if you put in the chat that you're ready to go, it's your first time doing a residency, let us know. Okay. Kaylin, do you know what you're going to make?
Do you have to be a TTN member to participate in the residency? I mean, you won't get all the planning and tools and the Zoom links if you're not a TTN member. Of course, you can use our inspiration and take your own, 6 weeks and follow along if you want. But being a member is, kind of the way to participate in our residency program.
And
Um,
that's how the membership is how you have access to the Zoom calls and planning materials. So yes. Yeah.
Rebecca, we're excited for you. You're going to be great. And we have lots of planning and support coming your way to help you kind of pick the right project and move forward. Beth, so glad to have you back. I haven't decided how many pieces I want to make, but I have sort of like the vision for what the new pieces are going to be, Jamie, to answer your question.
Nice.
Lots of first timers. Amber, so excited to see you here and glad you're going to participate. I was just editing some photos of you from the retreat. Claire, first time residency, looking forward to it. I have 2 ideas of what to do during the time. Amazing. So happy to have so many first timers.
Awesome. Yeah, I think like Verona says, the residency adds this new focus. And I always feel like September is almost like the second new year of the year. Just I used to be a teacher, so it feels like September is like this fresh, clean slate, first time of school. And so it makes me really excited to get back to it.
Can I just be perfectly honest and say the last time I made such good progress in the studio was in February. So like my best art making time of 2023 so far has been the previous residency. And then I know that this is going to be, and 8 weeks in the course of a year going really hard in the studio is actually a good amount of time for a busy artist with 3 kids. So I love that the structure kind of, it's like a set it and forget it. Like, that you're going to have this time, you get to plug in. And I hope you all just really love sort of the habit building, the intentional way that we, try to help you build this around your life so that it feels sustainable, so that you're not just in and out of something that doesn't work for you.
Just wanted to answer Gail. So you mentioned that you're thinking, should you start now or should you start later? And then another thing is, can you use a project that you've already started? And all of the answer to that is yes. Highly recommend getting going now. Doing 2 residencies is better than doing 1, I would say. So start now and do the one in February. But you can always use things that you're already working on. This is a great 4 weeks to get things finished up, to actually give more time and energy to certain things. So yeah, no, it doesn't have to be a brand new idea. It is totally what would benefit you in your career, and it can be small baby steps will add up. We've seen it happen all the time. Beth, do you want to ask a question? You're so professional with your
Trying to
hand.
find my unmute. I just wanted to say that that's the reason why I found you guys in the first place, was I was searching for a residency. I wanted to actually commit to time and energy for art that felt more real. But to do a residency anywhere else, it was just not feasible. So I love the fact that you guys have the weekly program. It keeps you on track. It really helps having the detailed little bullet points, like for my kind of brain. It helps me to not be all over the place. So yeah, I loved February, and I'm grateful for the option to now do it again and kind of really focus, because it made all of my pieces for the May show, like the Taking Up Space show, basically happened because of February.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. And especially like right now, September, very soon to the holidays. So if you have any goals for, selling work over the holidays, just getting organized, you can also use your residency to get your website together. We call it art making time, and we believe in that, but we've had members that have just needed 4 weeks to kind of get some admin things organized. And that is a totally valuable, wonderful goal. So, depends what you're at and what you need, for sure.
Yeah, I think last spring somebody redid their website. Like that's what they did for their residency project, was
It was done
start to finish in 4 weeks completely. Or maybe she built her website, like her first website. I can't remember. Yes, there will definitely be someone else or many someones with the same scale goal for the residency for sure. Annie, such a great point. But I think one of the beautiful things is that we all kind of have a slightly different goal too. So you get to see what other people are working on. It's just very inspiring to, say, oh, Teresa's doing portraits and Annie's redoing her website and I'm doing, 10 mini pieces and Jamie's having a baby and all of these things, so.
That's my big residency goal, to create a human and bring it
Elizabeth,
into
you've
this
never
world.
committed to this before. I'm so excited that we're gonna do this. You're a first timer too. That's great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's crazy, right? I mean,
I know.
I've been here, but have I ever done it? No, I'm going to do it.
Woo!
That's great. That's really great. Yeah, and I think that it's just it's a special time, when we do our art and teas. Another big part of it is that you have about 20 minutes to talk to other artists. We give you prompts, and it's so wonderful to see what other people are doing. And I found that especially motivating. And with that, it's like accountability, yes, but actually more inspiring to be like, okay, well, if they're doing all this, like I can fit this in, I can do this as well. So it really keeps us all on track. All right.
Well, I did put our email in the chat one more time. It's info@thrivetailorenetwork.com if you have specific questions and you want to reach out. As I mentioned, we do have an artist caregiver discount that you're welcome to connect with the link for. That is on Linktree, on Artist Mother's Linktree. But otherwise, we've thrown everything we can at you, and we hope that you are walking away feeling ready to go and inspired and not overwhelmed. Yeah, reach out if you have questions. Official kickoff, as Jamie mentioned, is August 21st. The week of August 21st is kind of the first week of the residency, so you do want to be signed up before then. However, next Tuesday is our first Art and Tea back. August 15th is the date, and we're going to talk about getting back to your art after a break. So that will be a good kind of what just happened over the summer? How am I going to get my head wrapped around my art practice again and get back into the flow? That'll be a really good session to kind of get you juiced up and ready for the residency. So we would love to see you next Tuesday at Art and Tea at 1 p.m. as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. You're
Bye.
amazing. We'll see you soon. We'll see you on the network.